Could you possibly guess what a large space telescope that weighs as much as 2 elephants and an oil platform as tall as the Empire State Building, if not 500 feet taller, have in common? They both face lots of challenges for transport operations. Before we get started with this video, don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell button to stay in touch with all the fun-filled and entertaining videos we share on this channel. Most of the time, building very complex mechanisms is not as difficult as installing or mounting them in a designated area. Sometimes, it takes nothing short of specialized equipment and foundries to dismount and put them together. This is where transportation is essential, and in some cases, it's a pure pain to the transportation company. In this video, we will discuss the 10 most major transport operations in world history. These transport setups are simply astonishing and take logistics to a whole new level. Stick around to the end of this video, and you'll be amazed to discover the gigantic ship that could comfortably transport over 8,000 vehicles deep in the Gulf of Mexico and across the sea. Let's dive in! The Bullwinkle. The Bullwinkle is an oil platform built and mounted way back in 1988. It was probably the tallest structure back then and weighed about 77,000 tons. It measures about 529 feet tall. This makes it about 550 feet taller than the Empire State Building. And it took about 5 years to build it. Getting it out of the water took an extra 3.5 days of transporting it from the shore to where it currently stands. Constructing and carrying this massive structure cost $500 million. Yet, considering its functionality, it's worth every dollar spent on it. Falcon 9 space rocket. Sending a rocket that weighs over 500,000 kilograms of metal can be a lot of work, and certainly needs a lot of cash. However, Elon Musk's SpaceX has been able to achieve this at a lower cost. The company succeeded in sending out a Falcon 9 rocket with the ability to transport people and 4,020 kilograms worth of load into space. Launching the rocket costs about $64.5 million per launch, and reusing the rocket, which is one of the advantages of Falcon 9, is way cheaper than initiating a fresh launch. The Troll, a natural gas platform. Another one of the most spectacular transportation operations ever seen in history is the Troll, a natural gas platform in the middle of the water. This platform, constructed like a strip of bacon, is held up by 4 concrete pillars off the coast of Norway, and got the engineers some well-deserved accolades in the 1996 Guinness Book of World Records. The concrete posts are built like upturned cups, known as caissons. The upturned cups provide dry spaces at the bottom of the structure where work is carried out comfortably. Each leg took about 100 days to be filled out with concrete, and each leg housed the workers' living quarters plus an elevator for ease of movement in the caisson. The platform is about 995 feet below water surface, weighed about 1.2 million tons, and measured approximately 1,548 feet tall. This was the most massive project ever moved in the history of the world, and it took about 10 tugboats to transport it back in 1996. The movement was just 174 miles into the North Sea. The cost of constructing and transporting this massive edifice was about $650 million. 4 whale sharks from Taipei and 2 beluga whales. When the new Georgia Aquarium in 2005 employed UPS services, little did they explain that what they needed to transport were 2 beluga whales and 4 whale sharks from Taipei. And the twist to the job was transporting these massive animals from Mexico to Atlanta. Each whale shark weighed about 2,000 pounds and was 16 feet long. Transporting these mammals alive probably needed some custom-made tanks with lots of water. When the company was finally ready to move these whales to their new home, they had over 50,000 pounds of load to move. UPS loaded the whale sharks in a Lockheed C-130, transported them to Taiwan International Airport, where they loaded them into a 747 airplane. Moving the beluga whales was a different, tedious matter all of its own. The transport company used a crane to move the whales from an amusement park, which was their home at the time. Once this was done, moving them to Atlanta got easier. This trip cost a rough estimate of about $1 million. The HMM Algeciras. If you were blown away by the Hubble target, then get ready to get more dazzled by our number 5. The world's biggest container ship measures about 400 meters long, 70 meters high, and 60 meters wide. This sure is massive when compared to the Hubble target. It is the very first ship created by the Korean company HMM, with the capacity to carry about 24,000 20-foot-long containers. The ship is built with scrubbers that help to reduce the impact of the ship on the environment. Building this ship, plus the operational costs, should give a rough estimate of about $140 million. More astonishingly is that this ship can fit into 73 different ports. However, in cases of port congestions, it runs adversely on the HMM Algeciras. Muon G2 Magnet. The Muon G2 Magnet is a 50 feet wide, high-conducting electromagnet that cost about $25 million to build. Transporting something of this magnitude will need nothing short of a grand transport operation. This magnet was initially built and used in New York State. Still, in between an experiment, scientists needed to move this monstrous piece of magnet to the United States Department of Energy's laboratory. A simple calculation of the distance between the two towns gave approximately 3,200 miles on land and sea. The magnet was driven on specifically designed trucks for 3 whole nights, moving through Florida till it got to its new home. While in transit, however, the transportation operation was from time to time intercepted by people who were amazed by the size of the magnet and the vehicle conveying it. Transporting it to the lab cost about $3 million. On a brighter note, the cost of transporting the magnet was much cheaper than building a new one for the laboratory. The transportation was definitely a good move in the right direction. The Hubble Telescope. If you can imagine a telescope as the same size as 2 fully grown African elephants hanging in space, then you're not too far off from imagining the Hubble Telescope. The Hubble Telescope is 43.5 feet, weighing in at about 24,500 pounds. The transportation of this piece of gigantic wonder is one of the costliest things in the world, and it took nothing less than 2 years of negotiation by NASA to be approved. Within that time, NASA also got the approval to create and transport the Hubble Telescope to space in 1977. However, the telescope never got to leave Earth till mid-1990, and this was on the Space Shuttle Discovery. The transportation cost was about $1.5 billion. Even sadder, the pictures from this telescope were not worth the trouble. Nevertheless, in 1993, NASA sent a team of 7 men back to space to work on the telescope, and after 5 servicing missions on the equipment, the telescope became good as new. Hogue Otterliner target. A plane that transports spacecraft is quite the thing, but how about a giant ship that transports cargo? Here at number 8, we present the enormous ship that can carry up to 8,500 cars in a single trip. The Hogue Target is a 36-meter cargo ship with the ability to get the job done in a single voyage. This ship is the largest truck and car transporter in the entire world. It has a deck space of about 71,400 square meters. This ship does nothing but transport cargo that are up to 12 meters wide and 6.5 meters high at ease. The Hogue Target makes about 3,000 ports of call every year, and this is estimated to yield about $42.5 million. This amount is undoubtedly a huge gain compared to the $1,000 to $5,000 the ship uses up in a single trip. The AN225 Airplane. Ever imagine how big an airplane created primarily for transporting spacecrafts would be? The world's biggest aircraft, the AN225 plane, is more expensive than the Statue of Liberty. It was created by the Soviet Union with an initial goal of launching Soviet spacecraft off the plane. The idea was to save about 90% of the launch energy when the flight gets up to 6.5 miles of altitude during the launch. The plane is about 84 meters in length, with a wingspan of about 88.4 meters. When it's empty, however, it weighs about 285,000 kilograms. That sure is massive. Another astounding capability of this plane is its ability to carry a gigantic load of over 250,000 kilograms. So, it is the right piece of equipment for bringing a massive spaceship into the air. Regrettably, the Soviet spacecraft project was cancelled, leaving the AN225 lying idly. This airplane cost over $460 million during its creation, and another $30,000 for each hour of usage. It could be used for long-distance travel, but no one bothers to board this airplane. The Statue of Liberty. If you travel a lot, it's very likely that you may have come across the Statue of Liberty. Are you aware that this iconic structure was built by the French and not Americans? This simply means that the Green Lady traveled all the way from France to New York City in the 19th century. However, the 450,000-pound figurine moved in about 350 smaller bits and in about 200 cases across the Atlantic Ocean. Thankfully, the engineer that built the Eiffel Tower, Gustav Eiffel, took up the project that is today the representation of the American dream. It took a long time for the parts to be assembled, but the following year, the Statue of Liberty was officially opened. The French spent about $5.5 million building this statue and another $1 million transporting it from their home to America. And those are the 10 most epic transportation operations in history. I hope you were as excited to watch this video as I was to narrate it. If you are still wondering how the massive Statue of Liberty was put in place, well, now you know. Anyway guys, that's it for me today. If you have questions about the transport operations, be sure to comment down below, and I'll include it in subsequent videos. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more, be sure to give us a like, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button. That's it for me guys. I wish you all a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.